What's up, world? I'm gonna speak on addiction on this video. Um, I speak on addiction a lot on my TikTok, but I wanted to bring it over to YouTube. Um, somebody messaged. So let me backtrack a little bit. So I speak on addiction on TikTok a lot. I make videos, and I always, make posts on Facebook, and I comment things on Facebook, and I comment on Instagram, and I don't know. I think I just try to shed awareness about addiction from all aspects of it, from an addict side to the recovery side, and just share my story. And I get a lot of messages and I get a lot of comments. People just asking me just all sorts of things, and I just try to give them from my experience and my point of view of what I've seen, what I've been through, what has helped me, what I feel, and all this stuff, right? So a lady messaged me and said, how can I tell if my son is on drugs? How can I tell if he's on drugs? What drug do you think it is? And she gave me some examples of the things he do, and what can I do to help him? That's pretty much what she asked. And I messaged back, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to send a voice message. And then pretty much I was like, hey, if you want to call me, we can just speak on the phone. I feel like it'd be easier because there's a lot to unpack in these messages I'm sending you. And I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to overwhelm you. The best thing I can do is just speak, and you listen to me and I listen to you. So we got on the phone, on the Facebook phone, and she pretty much just basically just started out with it. She got a little emotional and, all that stuff. But I'm gonna turn this fan off. But when she started telling me the things that was going on, the sketchy stuff, the lying about where you're at, the never having money when you have a job, quality of life going down, losing weight, being distant. Her son lives with her, and she basically never sees him. She says he never comes out of his room, and when he does come out of his room, he's leaving the house. When he gets back home, he goes straight to his room, never sees him, pretty much. Lost his car got repossessed, and this guy lives at her home, doesn't pay any bills. Car got repossessed, never has money for his own phone bill. He has a kid, he just stopped seeing his kid as much. His girlfriend broke up with him. She puts him on blast about being a drug addict on Facebook. You know how it goes in the addiction lifestyle. Just your quality of life goes down, and it's a tornado. I always give the example of, or acronym, no, it's not acronym. I give the example of it's a tornado. It destroys everything in its path. And you might see it coming from a mile away, or it might just blindside you. And as parents can be biased, especially when you love your kid, and no matter what your kid does, you see the good in your child. You know the real him or her. You know your child. So no matter what he's done out there, that's your baby and all that stuff. So when she started explaining things, I just got in my mind with she sort of knows her answer already, but she's pretty much being biased. She doesn't want to come to terms with what she really thinks is going on. Well, she stated, he's battled some depression and some things that's happened in his life. I think he didn't have a good relationship with his father and all this stuff. Just the good old concoction, the combo, the cocktail of what can be stirred up together to create a drug addiction. And I told her, if you're thinking he's on drugs and you're getting signs of drug use, you're finding straws. I'm not talking about her exact experience, but you're finding things around the house: straws, foils, burnt spoons. That's a drug use. And she didn't know how to confront him about it. So first, I'm gonna get on the how can you tell if somebody you know is doing drugs. And there's a lot of things, but the telltale sign of it is money. If they have a job or they have a way to make money and they still never have money, and there's not a lot of, they don't have any bills, their money's going somewhere, you know. And especially if they don't have money, but they need money. Prime example, when I was an addict, I needed money. And I would lie. I would come up with conniving stories. I even got into stealing things, with whatever I could to get money, right? I got an addiction. I got in recovery, and if I didn't have money, I didn't need money. You know what I'm saying? If I had bills or something, yes. But just when I first got in my recovery and I'm not doing drugs, I don't have any bills because I'm at a sober living or rehab. If I don't have $5 in my pocket, honestly, I don't need to go begging for money, because what do I have to buy except maybe some cigarettes or something? So if you have somebody living in your home, or you know their situation, they don't have a lot of bills, but every time you see them or hear them, they're always asking you for money. They're always having a story about money problems, money, and you're like, where is their money going? Or, bro, we get it. Like, you need $20, but it's not life or death. And they're just going on and on and on about money. If they never have money and they're supposed to have money, that might be a sign they're in addiction. Another thing is exactly what she told me: getting distant from you, their friends group change. Somebody who's always used to hang out with their friends, or they're all, I'm on the phone with my homeboys, they're always hanging out with their friends, and now that friend group changes, or they're always isolated. That can be another example of being in addiction. Because remember, I can't hang out with you as much if you don't do the drugs I do. Drug addicts hang out with drug addicts, that's it. Just like business owners hang out with business owners, just like doctors are gonna have doctor and nurse friends. Married people are usually gonna hang out with married people. Basketball players are gonna hang out with other sports people. You're gonna hang out with who you are hanging around. So if I'm a fentanyl addict, if I'm a meth addict, I can't hang out with the square guy who doesn't do drugs, who thinks drugs are bad, or who just doesn't do it. I can't hang out with you, at least not all the time, because we're in two different lifestyles right now, buddy. And that's another example, or that's another thing that if you think somebody's on drugs, that's another thing to look for. If their friend group has changed, if they're sort of in the wrong crowd that you don't really know, it's not really like them to hang out with these people, or they're just, they're always by themselves. If they live with you, they're always in the room, that's another thing. Like I said, she said he's always in his room, she never sees him. That's another thing. Mood swings, always moody. Always moody, maybe dealing with depressed. And it's not, I don't want to say somebody who's dealing with depression is a drug addict. I'm saying if their moods are sporadic, they might be on edge a lot, blow up over the smallest things. You're like, bro, it's not that big of a deal. And they're angry. Mood swings can be up and down. They can be angry, then they can go to depressed. Drugs do affect your moods, man, especially when you don't have your drugs. I didn't want to deal with anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm mad. I'm angry. I don't feel good. Addicts need to feel good, and when we don't have our drugs, we do not feel good, and that's bad for everybody around us. So mood swings definitely can be another thing that if somebody's can be doing drugs. That would be the major top three. The number one is absolutely money. If they're always needing money and don't never have money, that can be a telltale sign. Number two, if their friend groups have just changed or they're always isolated, that can be a telltale sign. I can't do my dope in front of you. You don't know I do dope. My friends don't know, so I gotta do it by myself or with other drug addicts. And the mood swings. And now this will go back to sort of money, the money side of it. Especially when there's major things happening with money. For example, your car gets repossessed. That's a major deal. And for a normal person, they're going to do whatever they have to do to not get a car repossessed, right? Because that's almost your livelihood. So when something major happens like that's another telltale sign. When I was in addiction, I had 2 cars repossessed because I couldn't pay my car bill note because all my money went to drugs. And then when I lost my car, I didn't go to hell and back to get it back. You know what I'm saying? It was just that happened, and I still got it. I found another way to go get high. That's that. Those are some telltale signs. If they can't hold down their job, they're always losing. You know, they go to work for a few weeks, lose a job. That's a telltale sign. You know, because the drugs come first. So I'm gonna be late to work if I need to go get my stuff. I'm gonna be late coming back from break if I'm gonna need to get my stuff. I'm not even gonna go to work if I don't have my drugs, because my body, especially opiates, because my body's not feeling good. Quality of life. Everything can be wrapped up in the quality of life. But once your quality of life start going down, because here's the deal, I'm not talking functioning addicts is hard. It's hard to tell about functioning addicts because they're functioning, right? They're paying their bills, even if it's bare minimum. They're paying their bills. They're doing at least the bare minimum. So you might suspect something's going on with him, but you can't really put it all blast because they're functioning addicts. Functioning addicts keeping their job. You know, they might be keeping their car. They're functioning. And you can be a functioning addict for a long time, or some people can be a functioning addict and it goes down the drain fast. I was a functioning addict for years until I wasn't. And that's what I tell everybody that says they're functioning addicts. You can be a functioning addict for years until one day you're not. Because all it takes is one change in your life and you're no longer a functioning addict, you're an addict. If I'm a functioning addict and I have a job and I have a car and I'm paying my bills and I make enough money to pay my bills and buy my drugs, or I'm not deep in drug addiction so it's not taking all my money. It only takes one drastic thing to happen. It only takes that one day where you're dope sick and you miss work. You know what I'm saying? And it just starts from there. And it takes one drastic thing to where you lose that job. Because once you lose that job, your drug addiction doesn't go down when your money dwindles. It stays the same. So if I have a high drug addiction just because I make a lot of money, if I have a high drug addiction because I make a lot of money, when I make less money, that drug addiction's still up here. I still got body. It's not like, oh, well, I don't got that much money, I need to slow down on the drugs I do. That's not how drug addiction works. And that's one thing that will expose it, is when something drastic happens. So a functioning addict is only one bad choice from being an addict. You're only one bad choice. You're only a DUI away. You're only one arrest away. You're only one overdose away. You're only one car repo away. You know what I'm saying? You're only one time to somebody find you doing drugs. Find drugs in your car. Find drugs paraphernalia in your room. You get me? So if you're suspecting somebody you love, somebody you know to doing drugs, how to confront them is going to be iffy, right? I would say if you have a good relationship with them, just say it. Hey, man, there's something going on with you. I care about you, man. I care about you. You know, I don't want to disrespect you or hurt you or nothing, but I feel like something's different about you, you know. And please tell me if anything's going on with you. Please tell me. I care about you, you know, because I'm going to tell you, if I'm on drugs and you ask me am I doing drugs, I'm going to try my best to, no, I'm not doing drugs. Why would you even ask me that? I'm almost going to get offended, you know. Imagine if you don't do drugs, somebody asks you doing drugs. You're going to be offended. That's the same way a drug addict is going to act. So it's a scary thin line. All I can say is every situation is different. When my mom first asked me did I do drugs, I blew up. I was the biggest junkie in the world, but my mom didn't know that. And when she asked me that, I wanted to put it in her brain that how could you ask me this crazy, absurd thing? Are you insane? Why are you disrespecting me like that? And I wanted to put that in her brain so she would not ever think that again. The whole time she was right. I'm a drug addict. 10, 12 years later, I was still a drug addict. My lights went down the drain. So I can't tell you how to ask someone if they're doing drugs. But if you're suspecting it so long and you can't bite your tongue about it and there's so many things that's going on, you have the right, you know. If somebody's always in their room and they're always broke and they done lost their job and their quality of life is going down and they're losing weight, hey bro, I gotta find. Are you doing something you not supposed to be doing, bro? Are you battling something inside? You just tell them, ask them if you want, and then be like, well, hey man, I'm trying to figure it out because a lot of these things are not like you. You know, you keep your job, you usually keep your money, you usually keep your appearance and your physique. You know what I'm saying? So when all these things can go downhill, bro, I'm just worried about you and I'm trying to figure out what it is. You can go about it that way. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to deny it. Not only are they going to deny it, they're probably going to come at you like, how can you ask me, am I doing drugs? You understand? But when somebody's quality of life goes all the way downhill and there's not really a verbatim explanation, when you tie all those things in, bro, it makes sense if you're doing drugs. You look like crap. Your quality of life's going down. You're not keeping yourself up. You're not getting haircuts. You're not getting your hair done. You're not keeping your makeup right. You know what I'm saying? You're missing clothes. You're selling your clothes, your cars. You know what I'm saying? So I can't tell you how to go about asking somebody if they're an addict, but I can tell you these telltale signs of drug addiction. And that's that. My name's Quan. I'm 18 months sober. I've done a lot of drugs. I liked opiates and opioids, from Percocets to Roxys to Oxy, to heroin, and I had a fentanyl addiction the last 4 or 5 years. I messed around with other drugs too, but the opiates really was my thing. And I lost pretty much everything to that addiction. And I'm building it back up 18 months into it. And I will say this, not to get too deep, and you'll probably understand it if you think about it, and if you see more of my videos, I'm going to post more. Recovery is more than not getting high and not doing drugs and not being around the drugs. It took me months and months to learn that. Yes, obviously not getting high is the main part of it. But I had to learn how to view the world and how to react to the world. And I had to learn myself, and I had to learn how to take accountability. And I had to learn how to forgive. And I had to rewire my brain. And I had to learn what it is that I want out of the world, what I want to do in this world, and what my purpose is. And when you get that, and when you start to heal from things that you didn't know that was bothering you, from trauma, and you package that into not getting high, and you take a really long come to Jesus moment, look at yourself and try to fix yourself, plus not do the drugs, that's when I started seeing success in my recovery. Peace.